You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Hey, are we on? Okay. I feel like, boy, suddenly we're about to start. Let's go. And then mics go dead. And I'm like, what? Sorry about that.
I've been censored before.
Well, you're no kidding.
Nothing that quick.
You're no kidding. Let him talk first, and then we'll talk about it.
Shut him down.
Yeah, we got the mayor on. We're going to talk about the CAD, the Central Appraisal District, and also the budget, which we're right in the middle of performing, which the CAD is making more difficult by, you just told me that we got the approval for the tax rates or whatever on Friday, and which is about a month late or something like that.
No, it's not late. They got it on time, but it was the last half hour of the deadline.
It figures. They must be.
It wasn't just us, though. It was everybody.
Oh, sure. But we're going to talk about that because there's some significant headwinds coming our way. And then we're going to talk about some of the shenanigans in Austin. Not so much the redistricting, even though I might drop that on it, because I don't
care. Whatever you want to ask.
Yeah, I know, but you'll say.
I don't know.
I don't know much either. I mean, and neither does anybody else. I read this morning, for the first time I actually saw a map that included Burleson in it. And we'll still be in District 25, but District 25 will be changed. Mr. Williams is going to have.
And they're throwing this on the Republicans,
right?
But they started this years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be Monday's show. Actually, I have an open date unless something drops in my lap. I'm going to talk about redistricting, but that's for Monday's show. But today we're going to talk about Burleson stuff.
Excellent.
And how there's a couple of bills down in Austin that right now are suspended because of the lack of quorum, but they would affect Burleson.
Yes, Evertown.
Evertown. So let's talk about the sponsors first, just because they make this all possible. I was at our place yesterday for lunch, meeting a friend, and I ran into several school people. The in-service has started, so they get to have lunch out off campus, and so it's all beginning. I think the first day of school is a week from tomorrow. Aren't you glad you don't have to worry about that? Yeah. Parents kill me because they're like, oh, summer we're going to do this and do that.
Thank goodness I don't have traffic issues.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, we have traffic issues. A lot of old men in pickups in this town. Oh, no offense. Anyway, so kind of walked into that one.
You're really proud of yourself.
You walked into that one.
I didn't say nothing. You shared that on your own.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, thank you, Otto. Also, Gina.
All you old people out there, that was Brad.
That was me. Hey, I'll say it again. We have a lot of people that have a lot of time to get to where they're going. And anyway.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, I know. Also, Gina's Pizza. I was there twice last week. I'm really helping them out. Sunday night, we had a little Sunday school party. It was a pizza party, and most of the pizza came from Gina's. So the word's getting out, Gina's Pizza. You're doing a good job. And
I like their sign.
Well, I do. I think it's nice. And then you go there on Sunday night. It's becoming kind of a real popular hangout because of the musical acts. So there you go. Also, John Williams at Old Pro Roofing. He's going to be very busy. We had this storm. Well, I was surprised about Sunday afternoon, but then we had one early Monday morning, and so he's going to be busy, checking out roofs. 817-734-2756. These are our home folks and whatever. And so here's the thing, we have a big storm come through, and all of a sudden, popping up like toadstools, we got guys in trucks with roofing trucks coming through. Now, hey, they got to make a living. I get it, but go with home folks. Go with
yes, absolutely. Don't find out where they're from.
Yeah, no,
you have a problem with that roof, and they're going to the next disaster somewhere.
Exactly right. And you know where Old Pro is. They're in Old Town, and they pay taxes, which is very important to the mayor.
Yes, very.
So 817-734-2756. No, that's part of the job. You got to be, you're not just supporting businesses, but you got a bigger picture to worry about. I remember it wasn't your predecessor, Ken Shetter, was his predecessor, Rick Roper. That's who it was. And he said one of his priorities would be get these churches off the main drag because they can't tax them. So, but Church of Christ did their part.
I see Rick saying that.
Yeah. Anyway, 817-734-2756. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly over at the Wethington Agency, 817-781-0546. The real estate's still moving. The Fed is being a bit stubborn about the rates, but he'll tell you what's going on. They'll tell you buy the house and date the rate, as they say, because you can always refinance. And I'm reading a lot of conflicting things in the media about home buying. I know, like, My mom's house has been on the market for 8 months down in Corsicana. Then I read in the Wall Street Journal, or actually it's the Dallas paper, how inventory is low and prices are high, and like you couldn't tell it by me. So anyway, 817-781-0546, and Jeff will help you straighten all this out. And our friend Tiffany Jane, you should have the magazine by now. 30,000 homes have it. They do a great job. And I believe this month's issue is on banking services. So there you go. Local Life Magazine, also locallifetx.com. Anything else? Oh, yeah, one more thing, yes. Our friends over at the Station 330 doing Hill Country Relief. I think Saturday's the last day. You go there, you buy a meal, and you have an opportunity to tag on $5 or $10, and he'll match it, and they'll send it down to Hill Country. So Jesse's doing a good job down there, and the food's great. I mean, we have some really good restaurants. You know, I can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, it's like, which is your favorite hamburger? So, well, you really can't put it down because I like our place. I like the Rim. I like this place. Grumps. You know, and Grumps does really good. You know, and there's several others. You know, so it's a tough choice sometimes. I guess it's a good tough choice. But anyway, go and support our friends down in the Hill Country, and have a good meal to boot. We have some nonprofit stuff like from the chamber. We'll just do that at the end. So let's jump in. You want to talk about the CAD first, or do you want to talk about the budget first?
It doesn't matter. It's all
the same, isn't it?
Let's talk about the budget.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, we're dead in the middle, and I'll talk about the budget first. In the fact that we got a late start because of the CAD. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll go down that road. How do you talk about the budget?
It's hard to talk about it when you don't have all the facts you need. It's kind of tough.
Well, we got it now. The thing that people need to realize that when we do a budget, we send out a survey. Mm-hmm. And number one issue in the survey with our citizens was infrastructure. So we have gone down that road. Public safety was up there, and so the top three items in our budget is public safety and infrastructure. People need to understand that the position we're in on our public safety, isn't like any other town, except for maybe Alvarado, is what we have to deal with in public safety. Mm-hmm. We are drug into a lot of messes because we're next door to Fort Worth.
Well, why is Alvarado exempt? They're on the same highway.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
In all the other towns of Johnson County, except Burleson, I said maybe Alvarado's in that same deal.
I get you what you're saying.
Mayor Weed has to deal with the same thing, and we don't have the budget that really allows us to go get the police officers that we really need. Now, the survey, within the next 5 to 10 years, the matrix study that we've had done is saying that we're going to need 18 new officers.
And how soon a time frame is that again?
5 to 10 years.
Okay. That's a bunch. Because it isn't like just putting a want ad out there and, okay, you're now a cop. You have to go through the expense and the time of training police officers.
But we do lateral moves now, too.
Right.
And we have picked up a lot. But then you sit here and you're at the top 3 in pay of the 10 towns similar to our size, okay? Well, we're not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Everybody's hiring our guys and so we have to have packages that keeps them.
Well, it's kind of like the schools. I mean, when I was with BHS, Mansfield was always kind of like this looming threat to steal our teachers because they paid like $500 a month more in some cases. Now, for me personally, I enjoyed what I was doing, and a lot of my colleagues that did go to other school districts ended up teaching classes that they really didn't like as much as they were doing at the high school. But they were getting paid more, so they kind of washed out. I enjoyed what I was doing, so it's kind of worth it to me not to go chase $300 a month more or something like that.
So we had the new teachers orientation the other day, the luncheon.
Right.
And I noticed that it was a smaller size. So I asked, the last 3 years, we have had fewer new teachers in the fact that we are retaining our teachers better. So that's a good sign.
Well, it's kind of like with the police. There's more to it than strictly how much per month. I mean, now if some school district came to me and said it will pay $1,000 more a month, which isn't going to happen, then we'll have a conversation. But a couple $100 a month more to a police officer, if he's well treated here and he's well taken care of here, and if the community supports him and doesn't give him a lot of trash all the time, then yeah, it's worth it. But it is kind of tough when probably Arlington pays more than we do, I'd imagine. And it's a magnet. When this pay significance, where pay differential rather, is very significant. I don't know what the pay is, but
I want to brag on the police department.
Okay.
I'll tell you one story. We had a lady call up and was talking about, I hadn't heard from my husband. She was out of town, and so we did a welfare check. Mm-hmm. It turned out he had died.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Yeah. And she was having to take care of somebody else. Don't know all the situation on that. But she was like, older lady. One of our police officers, on his own, without telling anybody, started going over there and mowing her yard. Nobody asked him to, nothing. And I tell this story, I don't drop any names because he'd be upset with me. Mm-hmm. But these stories are over and over with fire and police. I am just so impressed with our town. And it's not, you don't do that because you're a police officer. You do that because you have an heart. Mm-hmm. And we treat our people. Now, we got the new police station going in. That's part of the budget. Mm-hmm. There's some ramifications money-wise on that. But if we don't give these guys the right tools to do their job and show support for them, which they've been left around alone too long about getting what they need.
Right.
And still, even after we do this, we're only good for about 10 to 15 years until we have to do something else.
Well, that's the problem, I guess, of a growing community. But, a lot of people are concerned about with growth, you're going to get growth in some of the more, I don't know when I say negative, but some of the more difficult aspects of urbanization, if you will, and we need a police force that's going to be able to take care of these things, because as we get bigger, we're going to have some of the issues that
it comes with it.
Comes with the bigger issue. I've seen some things that I used to see only in Fort Worth. I see them more in Crowley and Burleson than I used to.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. And we have to deal. We're on the boundary with Fort Worth, Tarrant County, and we are Tarrant County. I-35 roads. We have to deal with all that. When you have a fatality on 35 or any road, the amount of due diligence you have to do ties your police force up. I mean, that road section of road is down for a long time. That pulls out the fire department with blocking on our old fire trucks. Police is out there. It'll eat up your time on that.
Well, and you were talking about the budget, and the need for public safety. I mean, but there's so many competing things that are needed in the budget. We're not talking about, things you would like to see. These are things you have to have, right? And as far as the police and fire, those are non-negotiable. And same with, street repair, and same with, taking care of personnel in City Hall. I mean, these aren't negotiable items. And so I like you, I'm concerned that we're going to have to either make some really hard decisions about how to raise revenue or how to cut expenses, or both. And none of that's fun. It's all painful.
There you go. And the CAD's not helping us out on this.
All right.
And their heart, and I'll give them this, their heart is in the right place. It really is. I did a presentation to the CAD. Towards the end of it, it got a little
testy.
Maybe.
Okay.
And they brought up the fact people can't afford their property tax, and I'm mindful of that. I am. But roads don't heal themselves. Mm-hmm. And I made the statement. I said, okay, I understand this. But when we have roads, specifically potholes, that we can't get to because we don't have the money to contract it out, and somebody that's in financial problems runs into that pot, who's going to pay for their front end?
Right.
I mean, and that's the situation we're looking at. We're mindful of the hardships that some of these people are going through, and thank goodness we got places like Harvest House and all these churches, Pathway and Open Doors got a phenomenal food bank. We have a lot of people that's trying to keep everybody's head above water.
Right.
But
it's
when
tough.
it comes to roads, and then they up the weight on semi trucks, 10,000 pounds, and that just tears roads up.
That's true. And, y'all been working on Hidden Creek, which has been needed for quite some time. And, but, that Hidden Creek is not, how old is Hidden Creek? 15 years? Yeah, maybe. It's been, I think, about 15 to 18 years.
Well, and let's go into another part of that. We got on board. We had a plan for taking care of the roads, and we wanted to make sure we was doing it right. So we hired this service, this GPS. They can literally look under the pavement and project road failures. It's a great service, but it was really bad news.
I bet it was. Another area that I just noticed, a lot of times when I live out in the country, and when I go to HEB, I'll go down Hidden Creek, and then I go take 714 through by Russell Art Farm and all that business. Yeah. I noticed they're building a church right in the corner of Dobson. The Heights, right. That little road is not going to be able to sustain church traffic, even not on Sundays. So that's another thing. I mean, people are building, and then they kind of expect you to kind of catch up, it sounds like.
Well, we've got Joshua ISD is putting in a school just off of 174 out by the TSC. Okay. We got to put a road in.
You're talking about there's two Tractor Supplies.
It's outside of town.
The one, okay.
Between Joshua and Burleson.
And they're putting a school there?
They're putting it back up, and I can't remember the Greenwich, or I can't remember the name of the road.
That's what Wilshire needs, or 174 needs, is more traffic. Actually Saturdays are worse than Fridays or Thursdays on that road. But or if you're going to, like I say, if I'm going to HEB like at 4 in the afternoon, I avoid Wilshire altogether, and I'll take that country route, if you will. And now they're building Pecan Grove, I believe it's called, some big houses out there. And that little road is not going to sustain all that traffic. And that's the kind of pressures I think people don't really realize. They think, well, why doesn't the city council do something about this? Well, it's not like you're unaware of it, but it's like, okay, we're making these choices. It's all priorities. And it's like, okay, which road do I fix first? And whichever road I fix first, I'm going to hear about the ones I'm not fixing more. That's what I've got.
You're exactly right. Yeah. It's a hard decision on which is the most detrimental. If you're going to go out and repair something, what's the life of the repair? And hats off to Dan McClendon on this, and he's in the business. But we're on the infrastructure committee, and this is made up of the three of us as council members, and we prep things that goes to council. Okay. Right. And one of the things we realized is that when we repair with asphalt, it's a 1 or 2 year repair.
Right.
So we're not really doing anything. If we spend another 15% on concrete, we get a 10-year repair.
There's another road that is beat to pieces and is getting beat to pieces, and that is behind that road that goes behind Sam's and Lowe's by Spinks.
Yeah, that's already being engineered.
Yeah, and they put some asphalt down, but then it made it a little better. But still, that's rough riding.
This was a really bad decision on a council from a long time ago. We didn't want an airport. The council, Burleson had this mindset: we don't want to grow.
Right, I remember that.
Well, it's going to grow whether it's on our side of the land or their side of the land. So Burleson gave that up. But we kept the road. So now we got an airport that we get no revenue off of, but we have to take care of the road.
Right. I remember that time frame when I first moved to Burleson. I remember in the early 90s, there was a big recall election for city council because of, I don't know if it's a recall. And this is 30 years ago plus, but I know there was a critical election, early 90s, that replaced several members. and because of the fact that they were preventing the town from growing, that I pass every now and then here on Crowley Road, Harbison Fisher. And the story I heard was that they wanted to build in Burleson, and they were told no, and so they built in Crowley.
Oh, I got one for you.
What was that?
There was a lot of people thinking Alliance Airport was going to be on this side.
Oh, gosh.
And people bought a lot of land up, and then Perot came in and said, I will just give you the land. And that's the reason it got to the north side.
Yeah.
Hughley Hospital wanted to be in Burleson. And City Council said, no, we don't want you.
Well, I understand there's a lot of factors in it other than just finances. It also is this mindset that we didn't want to diversify, shall we say, and become big city and have a different demographic.
So where are we at now?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, there's some bad mistakes that we can't undo from 30 years ago, so we don't want to make decisions now that'll hamstring.
Well, we got to learn from it.
Yeah, and I think we have. I think what happened also, and this is just my speculation, that when a lot of the older landowners passed the land on to their kids one way or the other, the kids were a little bit more interested in making money, not paying taxes. And so they loosened up some of that. And then the second thing, I brought this up several times on the show, is when that 4 section of I-35, started putting Chili's and on the border and Mexican Inn and all this other stuff. And a lot of people said, hey, we better get on the stick because, you go to Chili's on a Sunday afternoon and the line's out the door. We want that business here.
Should have been our land. All of that hotel motel tax that they get off of those. We only have 2 hotels on that side of town.
Yeah.
And neither one of them is what I would call.
Well, they're not destination hotels.
New. Well, for some people.
Yeah, well, for brief visits, shall we say? But anyway. But anyway, I'm just and I've come to appreciate a lot more by talking to you with Victoria. I've had Larry on.
Larry's
Adam.
amazing. Yeah, I got a great counselor right now.
Yeah, I've really learned a lot about the inner workings of how this goes, and people see from the outside and they say, "Well, don't do this, want to do that." I think when you look at the whole picture, you get a better perspective. It's like with me with the high school or BISD. When I was in high school, it was 123, room 123. That's all I cared about. And those people down the street were crazy, and they still may be. But once you sit here, you could see, a little bit bigger picture. It helps. And my concern for Burleson is that, it isn't just a matter of all the priorities, but, building materials are getting more expensive, aren't they?
Everything. Labor's going up. It's nuts what's going on.
Right. And we could talk about tariffs and Donald Trump and all this if you want, but it's like, it doesn't matter what's causing it. It's happening. They're building materials, road materials. That you mentioned the police station. We started out at one figure, we're at another figure, and it's not because we're adding, a kiddie pool in the back for the cops to play in. It's because that's just the nature of building these days.
Well, hats off to the PD. Billy and them sat down when we had one council meeting where they came back. We started out $29 million. We put a 25%, which I have never heard of, a 25% contingency on top in case prices go up. That put us around $45 million. 36 million. Put us around 36 million. And then they came back with a $70 million price tag.
I remember that. It was about 2 years ago, right?
Oh, I about choked. About a year ago.
About a year ago, okay.
And I said, we can't do this. And they went back and sat down, reconfigured with a different firm. We got a construction manager and got it back down to 40, which was acceptable. It still stresses the budget, but it was acceptable. Burleson, we are growing so many different places and so many that we have to support our police department.
And this new building also, if I recall, they found out after the fact that we're going to spend $1 million moving a gas pipe or something like that.
No, well, it wasn't after the fact.
After the fact,
it was already built in. We knew that gas line was there, and we knew it was going to have to be moved.
Well, okay, but it was an expense that isn't really adding directly to the building. It had to happen to build it.
Well, and that fund didn't even come. We have a franchise. They have to pay rent on that property to the city to have that gas line there. Okay, so there's other entities to get funds from to do that. and I don't know the details on it. Those are.
But it also delayed construction, and in a sense, and any delay is just,
Price goes up.
Price goes up, and I'm reading a lot about.
We surveyed it in depth too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I read a lot about how it just harder and harder, and we can blame who we want to blame at the national level or whatnot, but it doesn't really matter. Y'all don't really have a lot of control over inflation or the unemployment figures and all that. It's basically, you just have to respond to them.
But now we've got people on the council that is pertinent to construction. Mm-hmm. And we've got all the situations covered. We have a realtor on there. We've got someone on the school district that worked at ISD for a long time. Mm-hmm. Dan McClendon is phenomenal on paving and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He knows taxes. I got 3 guys that is just a brain trust for me on the budget and stuff. They know how to research, and I really lean on those guys. Everybody's got their expertise. Mm-hmm. I don't know what mine is.
Well, management, I guess. I mean, and also there is a large.
I see down the road, a long way down the road.
Well, you have also your next businessman, or I guess still businessman.
I'm an asset. I really am. But what I'm saying is, it is such a team effort on that council.
And you have Victoria on the COG, and that helps.
Yeah. And now we've got I nominated Judge Bedecker to be on the COG. The General Assembly, and the reason he didn't get it the last time is one of his buddies, Judge Little, had the position, and he didn't want to rock the boat. Well, Judge Little now has moved up to the executive director of the COG, opened it up. So now we've got a real good chance of getting our county judge, which is a phenomenal individual.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with him.
Yeah, he's very impressive, and he's gotten the master plan for the county and moved forward with the bond package. I helped on that.
It does help.
He's pretty timid. He's timid. I want it. I told him I was fortunate enough when in the last election, at the swearing in, they asked me to speak, and I told everybody that, the problem I see, and I turned around and looked at them and said, the problem I see you have, Judge, is the fact that you got 4 commissioners that like to talk, and I turned around and looked at them and said, and you don't. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the truth. I mean, all 4 of those, Woolley and Kenny and Mike and Rick, they act all the time. And Judge Better just sits up there and listens.
Well, you learn a lot that way, I suppose.
You do.
But complicating this, the budget process, I want to get back to what the citizens can do to be involved in it towards the end. But what's complicating this is some of the proposals at CAD, which is the freezing of the tax rates.
The 3-year reappraisal.
Right. And they have to be aware of what the potential problems are. Because like I mentioned, I was talking to a guy who does this for a living. He's in my Sunday school class, and we were talking about this before. And I told him he was going to be on. I was going to ask you all about this, but surely the CAD has to be aware that if you freeze it for 3 years, as soon as that 3-year period is up on that particular property, it's going to just pop up like a jack in a box, where it should be now after 3 years of not going anywhere, and that's going to be a significant impact upon somebody's tax bill.
But here's the deal, though: they're saying that the cap will keep that from happening. The problem you got is that rule is not set up for a 3-year reappraisal. It was set up for a 1-year appraisal, period. I mean, it's not. So nobody knows. That's that gray area where it's written up by Austin, but it's not complete terminology.
Right. Well, there's a surprise. You mean vague instructions from the state of Texas? I can't believe it.
Well, like on the ETJ, people getting out of the ETJ. That's great, but constitutionally speaking, the word in the ETJ was contradicting itself. Mm-hmm. So it put the cities in a horrible position to say, okay, I'll go ahead and get it. So we just started saying, let it play out. We're not going to take any action on it. 30 days, you're out of the ETJ.
Well, here's the thing that I don't know how they can get around this fact, because you freeze.
Which one?
About the 3-year freeze. If they froze my taxes for 3 years, Okay, I'll benefit from that. But
Well, you don't. No, wait a minute.
Wait.
Will you?
Well, no.
What if
for
your
3
property?
years.
What if your property values go down?
Well, okay, I guess that's true. But I guess we're so used to them going up, we don't really consider that possibility. But I'm just
When
saying.
you take a look at some of the situations they have. Morning, Alex.
Alex says good morning, and he says for me to tell you thank you for his job. And so, just personally.
Am I
David.
looking at a different screen?
No, well, no. You know, he's starting his own Chris Fletcher fanboy page. But anyway, but no, I'm just saying that we assume that property value is going to go up unless we have some sort of really economic catastrophe, and then we got a real problem. But in this area, they've never gone down. They've gone up faster or slower, but they've always gone up. But in 3 years, won't I be faced with kind of like a recapture of all that I did not pay for the last 3 years?
Nobody can predict the future. When interest rates, are people waiting for interest rates to go down? Mm-hmm. Are they? Is it going to be a boom after the interest rates go down?
That's a good question.
Nobody has an answer. The thing that I've got, and I asked these realtors, how's the market? And they said nobody is selling their houses for the asking price right now.
That's true. My mom has had to drop her price significantly. And this is in Corsicana, which, you know, they have different factors, but it's still a town, small town kind of thing. And we have a couple other friends I know of that have been trying to sell their house, not in Burleson, but in this county, and they've had to sit on it longer than they thought they would. So,
and now they're saying that the move from California is starting again. But most of the people are going to Houston.
Well, or Austin, you know, because the high
No,
tech.
and they brought up Austin. People aren't going to Austin like they were.
Well, I don't blame them. I mean, Austin is
That
a
was on
strange area.
WBAP this morning, so it has to be true.
Oh, BAP said it.
That's
Well, I
Hal
like
J
BAP.
was talking about it. So
Hal J. Well, if Hal J. said it, it's gospel. But if
or a joke.
But you know, as far as moving to Austin, I think sometimes our state legislature thinks all cities operate like Austin. You know, some blue left wing hippie kind of attitude or whatever you want to call it. When really there's a couple of bills down in Austin that concern me. We talked about this before. Now, of course, with the Democrats taking a vacation in Illinois right now, I don't know if it's going to get through anytime soon. But they were going to ban. One of the legislation would ban any kind of publicly paid for lobbying by cities and school districts. And the proponents of it said, why should a taxpayer have to pay for lobbying against its own interest? I'm thinking, what are you talking about against their own interest? You know, City of Burleson has lobbying down there, and they're not going down there and lobbying for
Well, you got to remember, and we had one deal. We was trying to get a state abatement for the hotel conference center. We don't know when we're going to build it. It's in the library. For anybody puts something out there saying we're fixing to spend $50 million on the library.
Just calm down, Bill.
When nobody even brought it up on council. So this is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The fact is, you get me off track.
Yeah, I know. Because I could see the postings right now. We both know somebody that's going to go nuts over that. But I'm just saying, the thing about it is we need representation down there.
We do, but the reason we need that is the number of the bills that come up is like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 bills. They just get inundated, and there is stuff that if we don't have someone looking, and this is an organization, so they're doing it for several towns, looking at what bills are detrimental to the city. Or even good for the city, we don't find out about that until they pass it, and then we have to react to it.
Right. Now and
there's some stupid bills out there.
Oh,
too.
sure there are. And then proponents of this bill said, well, they could still, you as a mayor could still go down there and lobby. Well, you can't be down there 140 days. You know, Miss Nancy might object. And, some of these people in the city council actually have jobs or families. They can't go down there and lobby personally all the bills that are pertinent to us on a 24/7 basis. That's why you pay somebody to do it. And they also said that you could do it privately. You can fund it privately. No one's going to do that, and they shouldn't have to do that. And when you go down there for Burleson, or Victoria, or Adam, or whomever goes down there for Burleson, you're not advocating some social policies. You're advocating for better money, more money for roads, more money for this, and to get off your back about zoning or whatever.
I did testify in front of the House and the Senate committees for our hotel conference room bill. But I just read my little sheet, got it and left. But I spoke for less than 3 minutes. Okay? I waited.
Oh, yeah. I know.
You come up when they tell you to come
Right.
up. Rick Bailey, Commissioner Bailey, goes a lot and testifies a lot. And if they don't want to listen to you, they'll put you at 1 a.m. in the morning.
And it's happened to me. I was twice when I was with the Educator Certification Board. I testified before the Sunset Committee twice. And I got there about 7 in the morning, which meant a very early getting up in the morning to get there in time. I was hoping to be there in the morning. I didn't testify until 7 o'clock that night. And I spent the whole day at the Capitol building.
The whole day. And you get up and go to the restroom, and they call your name, you just lost your spot.
That's exactly right. And the only reason I think I got any time on it is that one of the senators at that time, Dawn Buckingham, was on that Sunset Committee. And she used to be on the Education Board and sat right next to me. So she made sure I got my 3 minutes.
Well, see, that was the deal with Helen and King. They made sure that we got our spot.
Yeah.
And both of them, King actually he authored the bill for us with the other towns. And the only reason it didn't pass was because the Democrats and Republicans and the Senate and the House got into a pissing battle over stuff.
Oh,
it
yeah.
had nothing to do with the bill.
Right. And that's so common. A lot of good stuff goes by the wayside because of people posturing and want to, be a tough guy in the news and whatever else. But, that I get it. And, and a lot of cities have paid government liaisons, somebody that on the city.
Fort Worth.
Yeah, Fort Worth has.
When they show up, they're lobbyists, the room's filled.
Well, and that's what they're trying to avoid, I think. But
so.
But that's not their problem. If the city of Fort Worth the citizens of Fort Worth don't want their money to be spent that way, then do something, Fort Worth. Don't have Dan Patrick take it from you because he gets annoyed when Fort Worth shows up and raises Cain about bills he's trying to pass. That's the real point. It's not so much that Patrick and crowd object to the city funding guys. They object to the fact that these guys are opposing things Patrick wants, so he's trying to cut it off at the root and stifle this kind of opposition. And don't get me started about Dan Patrick. I'm going to do that by the way, I'll do that on Monday. My rant on Monday is about redistricting, and I got about a 50-50 opinion about that. All right, so that's not all.
You personally?
Personally, I do.
So you got two little people talking to each other?
Yeah, all the time. I got the little angel and I got the little devil talking to me and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, on this hand, actually,
you ignore them too.
I try to, at least one of them sometimes. But it's like Harry Truman said. He wanted a one-armed economist because they kept saying, "But on the other hand," and that's so that's the kind of thing I get to. Well, but on the other hand, so that's all for Monday. But I really am concerned about some of the things that the state wants to do to the cities. It's kind of what they did to the school districts.
So you're on board now. Mm-hmm. At one time, you was kind of on the other side of the fence.
I've learned a lesson. Well, because the thing about it is, like a lot of ideas, they start off, well, I can see that, and then they take it to this extreme, and they take it too far, and that's what I think the state of Texas has done on many things. I understand you don't want cities putting extra burdens on businesses, but they took away, in some ways, the ability of cities to impose any kind of local controls on building or apartments or whatever else, or zoning. And
we can't even tell somebody what. We can't deny somebody an exterior surface,
right? And I'm just
unless it's in a certain kind of a zoning or stuff like that. We're put a 10 building up on 174 if you want to.
You're right. And I just that bothers me is because it started out, okay, here's the problem. You had Austin or Houston or San Antonio putting a lot of extra burdens on businesses, and okay, we might want to modify that, and then they take it all the way over here to some extreme, and that's the problem. It's the same thing with the school funding. Say, okay, I understand. You give some money. Oh, potential spam. Hello, potential spam. Anyway, I thought it might be Dan Patrick calling me and giving me a hard time, but
he sneaks in the back door.
But it's like the school districts. Okay, remember our friend Rob Orr. Okay,
yes.
When he was our legislator, we had a nice long conversation about school funding, and said we want to fund schools, but we also get tired of giving money to schools and they spend it on stuff that really isn't pertinent to the classroom. All right, I get it. Now the funding for the schools are so restricted that certain things that need to be have spent on are not going to be spent on because they can't do it. BISD, they got some money, but it's very specified what they can do with it. And do we?
But here's the other thing, though, and this is where my heart goes out to ISD is when the state comes in and gives these unfunded mandates that they have to do. And our buddy Greg Cooper showed me how many people they have, administrative people, and a lot of it is just to keep track of what the state is wanting for them to get their money.
Well, this is actually an important call, and they called it potential spam. It's from Dallas Baptist. I'm sure they want me to be, one of their executives or something. I don't know, but anyway. But the thing about it is, what gets to me is I get concerned. With this, the lack of local control, because I saw it happen in the school districts. When I started with BISD in the '90s, we had a latitude to take care of what we needed to, and then beginning in the early 2000s, okay, now you got to do this, got to do that, to do this. Some of that is necessary. Like we had to pick up our game in certain areas. The one thing we didn't have to pick up, I want to say this in our defense, is we had the best special ed program probably in the area.
I'd heard that.
Yeah, we had a really, really good program. We had people moving into Burleson just for that.
Rio Vista, but Rio Vista was known for their special ed program too.
Well, so that was taken care of, I think. But other areas, math and science, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's like, I'm sure Dr. Jimerson will tell you they're hamstrung in trying to meet certain needs because the money isn't going to be allowed for it.
So you don't know the answer to this probably, but
I'll try.
They're getting rid of the Federal Board of Education.
Oh, you talk about Department of Education?
Yeah. How much input do they have on the schools in Texas?
In my opinion, not a good one. Because every time that they, over the years, they said, because we give you money, we could tell you what to do. And when Republicans ran it, you didn't really notice it that much, but Mr. Obama really took the Department of Education and started imposing certain social values, if you will, on schools. And one of the worst things he did, I remember this very clearly in 2013, they instructed that any kind of discipline program you put in a school system, even if it's written and applied as colorblind as possible, if it shows that you have a predominant impact on one group or another, you're in violation of civil rights and you could be sued. And so basically a lot of districts, including our own, had to be very, very judicious about applying discipline. And that meant letting a lot of things go in the classroom or in the hallways that we never would have let go before.
And we're still living that because I've asked questions about some of the situations, and it's. I think Jimerson walks on eggshells.
He has to, and also it's not just the Department of Education. It's also Ken Paxton is highly aggressive against school districts that advocate certain positions, like he did with the vouchers. When they were going through the voucher votes a couple of months ago, some of the school districts said we oppose vouchers, and they got letters and even personal visits from members of the Attorney General's office.
I heard he was vengeful.
Oh, I've read some reports about him that just made me think, this is not a nice man. And I'm going to be as judicious as I can with that. Not because I'm afraid of him, but because I don't want to get into some real rant. I am not a fan of Ken Paxton, even though we went to school together, apparently. I didn't know that till a couple years. He graduated a year after I did at Baylor. And and his wife is a friend of my sister's. I didn't know any of this until 2 or 3 years ago. But I wouldn't vote for Ken Paxton. If I had a choice between him and Beelzebub, I'd have to give it some thought. Well, not really. What's the difference? And so, but that's what happens, and that's what I really get irritated with the state of Texas now. Is that for years I taught in my government class, Texas government class, about how we were county and local oriented, and we're not anymore. We're not. You have a centralized governing body from Austin driving everything, and it's not just schools, but the cities, council, counties, the whole thing. And to me, it's not just inappropriate. It's wrong.
I agree.
It's wrong because we have to live here at the local level, and we need to make local decisions. What's good or bad for Austin shouldn't affect us one iota. We should be able to deal with Burleson problems. So,
I'm on board with you.
Yeah, well,
I'm kind of living it right now.
Yeah, I bet you are. And the thing is, when you started as mayor, it wasn't quite as pronounced. You took over right after COVID, so some of that. But even before, when you were considering it, or a few years before you became mayor, there were certain aspects of it already. But in the last, I don't know, it seems like in the last couple of years, Paxton, Patrick, and Abbott, the trio down there, have really taken the bit in their teeth, and they're going to drive this state to the right wherever they want to go. And I just, I guess part of the redistricting is part of that. And I want to save all that ammunition for Monday, but because, well, I'll just say this. I have my concerns about it a great deal, but also let's not forget how badly gerrymandered Illinois or Maryland or California is. Democrats do the same thing. So it's, all this indignation is a little bit over my head. But the point is that your job has been made harder for no reason. The council's job has been made harder for no reason. You got enough problems just running a community, and now you have to deal with what nominally are your friends. I mean, you're hardly what I would call a left-wing Democrat. All right, in any case.
I hope it's more obvious than that.
No. I'm just saying you're politically conservative and have been, and now you're having to deal with people that theoretically are too, and they're making your job a whole lot harder, and it's impacting us.
Well, and it's not even the thing about city. There's nothing that I have looked at that has been a political side. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, it doesn't even weigh in on it. Either you fix the road or you don't fix the road. I mean, there is nothing political, or should be, about city government. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cut and dry. It's not a whole lot different than running your own household. Well, your household's budget. Do you have the money or not to eat?
Again, I say this a lot, that Austin, I think, has colored the view of a lot of the people down in the state legislature. They're thinking that cities are all left-wing or something like that. They're all, because they vote Democrat. Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas are Democrat, and therefore they must be off-the-chain kooks and all this other stuff. So we're going to pass laws that affect everybody. And, like some of these school bills, you can't find more Republican-red areas in West Texas, yet that school bill is not going to help them. Nor is this we're talking about here. And that's what drives me just crazy. So, take your eyes off Austin. I know Austin is weird, and they'll issue these proclamations about, we want free Palestine, and we want, all these social issues and blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't do that, y'all don't have time or inclination to issue proclamations or, that have any kind of political content to it. You just got to worry about getting that street fixed or getting the cops hired, and yet you're being kind of hung with the same crowd. So,
good point.
That's in all my time in Burleson, the only time I ever seen the council issue a quote proclamation is to honor a local citizen, or say something. Today we proclaim it's so and so day for this particular person, or it's today is Burleson Heritage Day or Beautify Burleson Day. Now, very tame stuff like that. It isn't like City of Burleson we're going to advocate for, climate change or some other political position.
It's not anything like it used to be.
No.
We get along, we argue, and we come up with a solution.
Well,
and it's just easier to get stuff done.
Well, what can a citizen do, at least locally, about the budget? You know, you have meetings, right? You know,
We've been having meetings on budget since March.
they're open meetings, right?
It's all online.
Yeah.
I'm doing a series right now of videos. I just finished the second one, about how we build our budget, and it's the budget process that we go through, and the priorities we set, and available funds, and finding grants that we try to go get, and stuff of that nature. It goes through the whole process. Now, communications, Deanna Phillips, they have started a deal called BTX Bob.
Yeah, I saw that on the Facebook.
And it's very, very simple. And it's a great step by step of how we get this stuff done.
Well, I'm glad they broke it down into simple steps for me, because I read it this morning. You know, and
Yeah, they did a great job on it. And council has been asking for this kind of stuff for a long time. We want a relationship with our citizens. We don't want you scared to ask a question.
Well,
If you're scared of me, then
it's been my experience. Not many people are scared to ask a question in this town, but that's another thing. But as far as
they might not like the answer. But see, that's the difference between a text and email versus talking. I want to talk to people, and a lot of times we hang up the phone. They might not be happy, but at least they understand the position.
Well, that's appropriate. And here's the thing also, is that there are opportunities for citizens to weigh in on the budget, like workshops and things like that. It isn't
Come to it, but don't wait till the last night when we're voting on it.
Exactly.
It's too late. We had, one of them. We had two showed up on the night that we were going to vote for the budget. All the different things we had to vote for. It's too late then.
Right. I remember that.
Look at the agenda. It's posted more than 72 hours ahead of time. And if you don't see something, you've got 3 minutes at the start of it to say so.
I am well satisfied that y'all have been appropriate in your communications with citizens. What I think on the other end is a lot of citizens really don't pay attention to this until, my stars, they just passed this, or, and all
Reactive.
this. Yeah, and plus the fact is they don't understand, I think in some cases, what open meetings law is about. You can't do this, in some back room and make deals. I mean, if you did that, you'd be personally liable, and you'd be, a guest to the lockup, I guess. But
I'm amazed at how other entities don't follow the rules like they ought to.
When I was on that board in Austin, we were very careful about that, because we just stayed quite often in the same hotel if we were from out of town, and we'd meet and have breakfast, and we'd talk about sports or kids or whatever. We would never talk about the agenda, because if there were more than 3 of us together, or actually 2 of us, we could be in violation of Open Meeting Act. And anytime I communicate with other board members, like through email, I had to send it to Austin, and that guy or liaison with the TEA would send it to the person I was sending it to. He had to get it first. And I guess could I get around it? Sure, if I want to call secretly, but that's not. Nobody on the board want to do that, and you don't want to do that.
No, you get jail time.
Well, that's right. And so I guess my little plea to the community is, if you got an interest in this budget, show it now, not the day of the vote. And don't come up and say, I yield my time, a routine, after when I raise Cain about something that you had an opportunity for, 6 weeks to weigh in on. You could weigh in it on any time.
So here's a neat story.
Yeah.
So a couple of months into being mayor, there was a deal in San Antonio called the newly elected officials orientation. And I go to that. And Amanda went with me and somebody else. And we go to it, and they're talking about open records and the quorum thing, and going out to eat with other people and stuff, and what you talk about can be suspect and things like this. So that night, I'd met some other people. I won't say where from. And there was around, I guess it was 8 or 9 of us went to the steakhouse. And so Nancy had gone with me. So she was there with me. It was me and Nancy and Amanda and this other city secretary that Amanda knows. Amanda knows everybody. And we're sitting here talking about it, and here's these 4 new council members sitting on the other end of the table, and they are literally talking about their game plan to get rid of somebody.
Yeah.
Okay? So I leaned over towards Amanda and I says, is that quorum thing you was talking about? And she starts laughing.
Well,
Yeah, it was. I mean, you get into these, there's not being aware of that needs to be pointed out. But then there's some people that they don't care.
well, let's say that like you and Dan and Adam went to lunch somewhere in town. For y'all to do that and talk about in generalities about concerns about the city is not a violation of the law. Well, it would be if you were talking specifics and proposals and coming to agreements. That's the deal.
Yeah, but you don't want to put anything out there that allows the city to second guess it.
Well, and citizens, are going to second guess a lot. But I'm just saying, if you to the vast listening audience, if you see the mayor and Larry Scott and Adam Russell sitting down at the table, that's not a violation of the open meeting. And if they talk about, well, we need to, we've got some concerns about the city, what the violation would be is if you come up like what you described, where they're going to come up with game plans or agreements or make decisions. Exactly right. That's the gist of it. I'm going to have to jump onto the chamber things. We got some nonprofit ads, don't we? Because we're getting. Josh has a busy schedule over there. It's lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, first of all, we have a network at night from the chamber. I had Melissa on yesterday with her new social media person, Candace Collins, and it turns out we have a lot of common acquaintances. But anyway, it's a week from tonight over at the National Bank of Texas with Tim Sutherland. And so, you ever go to these chamber events or try
Not
to?
like I used to.
Well, I know. Well, you got kind of busy and I don't know, and all that. Network at night is always a great thing. So it's from 4:30 to 6. So you can do it on the way home from your job and whatnot. Have a drink and Dr. Pepper or a wine, whatever you want. I get it all. So I also got that, and then I believe we have something else coming up. Yes, Business Over Breakfast, August 26th.
I go to those every once in a while.
I forgot to do it last week, and I feel because I hear they're great. Business Over Breakfast, August 26th. Okay, it's going to be at the Brick, and then after that they start doing it. I think they're going to start doing it at Texas Bar in the mornings. I'm not sure.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, so
and I think the Rotary's moving over there too.
Yeah, I've met the young lady that runs that, Jamie, I believe her name is, that runs that Texas.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and she does a good job. Apparently, that's becoming a good meeting place. But anyway, August 26th.
They have good breakfast too.
Do they?
I've been there.
Yeah. Well, they have the culinary arts. Also, we have a women's conference, the full circle. Say it right, dummy. Full Circle Women's Conference is going to be in the 26th. I'm sorry, the 26th of September, and it's going to be over at Pathway, which has done really a great job for the community. We're always hosting these things. So if you're interested in that, a Full Circle Women's Conference, contact Melissa, Candace, or Jasmine over at the Chamber of Commerce. I believe we have one more. I'm just kind of top of my head. The clay shoot. That's on October 10th. Boy, that's a busy time. On October 9th, that morning is not Business Over Breakfast. Doggone myself. It is the Burleson Opportunity Fund. All right, and you'll be there for that, I'm sure. All the in crowd is there for the BOF, and I have them on the show next Tuesday. I'm going to have all, 2 or 3 of the board members, which I'm part of the BOF. So
well, we're changing it up too. It's going to be a lot more fun. We're going to have some.
Well, you're also with the BOF. Also, there's several people on the BOF that have positions on it. It's kind of like honorary almost, but you actually are participating, and you're a participant.
I'm a non-voting. Well, not yet.
Well, yeah, but you're there at most of the meetings. You have a lot of input. We sat next to each other at these things, and you always have comment and observations that are very pertinent to what we're doing. So you're not just a figurehead, is what I'm saying. You really do participate in the BOF a lot because it's obviously pretty important. And we have Tommy over there too. So, but the BOF, we have a meeting, I believe, in about 2 weeks, but they're going to be on next week.
Okay.
And
who's going to be on? Is it Daniel?
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to get Sam Ross if I can get him on there.
Our new chairs. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys are knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. But I believe, and I don't know if Victoria may show up because she's on there as well. She's also going to be on the show in about 2 weeks as council person, so she may make a double appearance this month. So that on October 2nd, that morning, we have the BOF. And then that night, over at the DoubleTree, we have the Next Step Gala. Next Step Women's Center is going to have their big gala at the DoubleTree down in Alta Mesa. So I bet you'll be there for that too, because I know you don't think so.
We're out of town.
Bummer. Well, I know Next.
I tell you what, last year the speaker they had last year, he was phenomenal.
Well,
he was good.
I know that as mayor, you support all these outfits, these nonprofits, and all those, but there's a couple I know that are closer to your heart. I know Harvest House is something that's important to you.
I tell you what, Next Step, they literally stepped up. At Hughley Hospital, some lady came in, had no family, no nothing, and had a preemie. And between Harvest House and Next Step, I didn't realize there was a special car seat for preemies.
I didn't either.
And it's expensive.
Oh, and sure it is.
They found one, got it for her, fixed her up with everything she needed, and drove her back to Whitney for some reason, but we hadn't heard anything more about her.
Well, these stories I hear a lot. I'm very blessed in this seat to see these things happen across the community, just like you are as mayor. You get to see these things. A lot of people, as it should be, they're focused in on what their day is and their family is and whatever. And I get to see this more globally. And I can tell you right now, I've been making a pitch for this. Our pantries are hurting. All right, I deal a lot with promises since my church supports that. And I have about 4 members of my Sunday school class work with promises, so we have a constant update. They're hurting. So is Harvest House. We saw in Harvest House somebody gave a really big food donation. That was gone in 2 days, I'm sure. Last month, my wife and I really, over the last few months, have been really felt led to support promises. I mean, more than just prayer. That's easy. Oh yeah, I'll pray for you, brother. No, we were actually putting some effort into it, and we come by and we had some stuff that they needed, some canned food, et cetera. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty much a big shot. I saved the day. It was all gone in 2 hours.
Well, their number of clients is just taking off.
Oh, I've never been in promises without at least 5 to 6 people waiting, and more than that sometimes. And it's so all I'm saying to my vast listening audience, it's I know times are tough, but you ain't seen tough until you're having to go to food pantries.
Well, I got another one for you.
Yeah.
I'll be announcing Burleson Cares here pretty soon.
And that is?
You'll find out.
Okay. All right. Big shot. You'll find out.
We got some stuff we got to go. We got we got the board, but we got the executive board put together, and it's an all-star group.
Oh, I bet I know some of them if they're nonprofit
you will.
people.
Yeah, I bet you probably know most of them.
Will you tell me the next time you show up?
I'm not going to guarantee it.
Okay.
We got to do this right, bud.
I got you.
We really got to do this right.
Well, when it's time,
absolutely,
I expect to be well informed.
It could be, not to take anything away from another nonprofit, it will be an organization that will literally change the lives.
I hope so. Well, then I hope to have a whole show on that when the time's appropriate. I like to do this again about a month when you're right in the middle of the budget.
Sign me up.
And so before you leave, we'll find you a day. Also, the radio ads, just real quick. Rich Hooper is over in the Journey. He's going to be promoting the show. And so he'll be telling people, hey, if you want to find out what's going on in the budget stuff, check out the show. So I try to get Rich on the show, but he's hard to catch. And then,
I wish people would get more involved in our city.
Betcha.
I really do. When we have 57,000 in the last election, we had like 1,500 people vote.
And then they complain later. People that don't vote, they complain, drive me nuts. If you voted and lost, hey, you can grinch all you want. But if you didn't vote, why didn't you? Also, tonight on community radio, on TuneIn Live 365, and I usually put the links on Facebook. This show will be on at 6 and 1 o'clock again tomorrow. So hopefully people can hear what we've been talking about, whatnot. Also going to have a couple of special shows from the chamber on later in the week on the radio station. So, I don't know.
What do you think about us going live?
On the radio station?
Well, prime time to restaurants and stuff like that.
Well,
and it'll literally have an audience to answer questions.
They'd have to ask Taylor and Josh about that, doing it through the podcast. I know doing it through the radio station.
I've always wanted to do that.
The radio station.
I love Q&As. Anybody wants me to come do a Q&A, Sign me up.
Probably the best thing we could do is do a live, maybe not as it's going on, but go and do a recording. Like, for example, on the 18th rather, September 18th, at Gina's, we're going to have all the nonprofits come in, and they give about 7 to 8 minutes on the show, and it is live here, like we do, you and I do, and people show up and they can ask questions then, and maybe we could do that. But as far as like breaking in live on Facebook, well, we're doing that now. As far as moving it to a public location, you have to talk to Josh and Taylor about that. And so, as far as breaking in live on the radio
I'll leave
station,
it up to you.
Well, the radio station will be harder because that's a much more expensive program to be able to do live inserts in the radio program.
I hadn't put any thought to this. So,
I don't.
yeah.
It's something to think about. Sorry you ran over time, Josh.
Oh, good.
We're not, I would say we were cutting into your lunch, but it looks like you've missed a few already, so no big deal.
What's one more, right?
Yeah, it's no big deal. Anyway, like I said, share with your friends. If you have questions of the mayor, you know where to find him. He doesn't hide. So,
Nope. Mayor at burlesonTX.com. Send me. You got a question? Want to talk? Visit? I don't care. I talk to everybody.
Yes, you do. And I think, you've done. I don't know if you thought it'd be like this 5 years ago when you started to run for mayor, but I think you've really grown into the job very well, and there's something to consider next year, next election season. But we'll get into that the next show. All right. Well, all right. We'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Brad.